Below the surface of consciousness are powerful emotions. Anger, fear, desire.
That's the path to the dark side.
This series is quite divisive for the fandom. I liked the show so far, while many weren't happy and some boycotted it on principle, whatever those were. Now the season finale has arrived, so it is time to take stock. Did the capping episode delivered on the same level as the rest? Was it a triumph, a disappointment, or something in between? Hi there, it's Micha. Join me if you like to get my take on it. The finale begins with Osha using the sensory deprivation helmet, having a vision of the future where May killed Sol without a weapon. While she is determined to stop her, Camille isn't. As she has no ship and he doesn't know where they are, they decided...
So we go together and see who gets to her first.
Meanwhile, Sol has brought May to Brandok with one plan in mind.
There is a vengeance on this planet. Now that you and Osha are both alive, I can prove it.
While the two of them blame each other...
Why did you blame it on me?
You started the fire.
Because the Jedi invaded our home.
May manages to free herself and get away with the safe ship. Sol then apparently considers to shoot her ship down and kill her, and is only stopped by Basil, the tracker, taking out the weapon system. He still manages to hit her with his ship, resulting in a crash landing. On Coruscant, Vernestra is approached by Senator Ravencourt, who inquires why the Jedi haven't informed the Senate about their manhunt. But she insists that as only Jedi are involved, it is an internal matter. He makes his point of view clear though.
I think the Jedi are a massive system of unchecked power, posing as a religion. A delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable.
At the same time, Camille offers Osha to be trained by him, which she declines, stating that she is not her sister.
You're definitely not. May made that deal without even thinking about it.
While they leave, we see someone peeking out of Camille's cave. Back on Brandok, Sol reactivates his beacon so the Jedi can track the ship and then goes after May. Soon after, Camille and Osha arrive.
Getting this elevator operational is the only way in.
Where he has still some tricks up his sleeves.
Are you sure?
Therefore getting to Sol first, where he engages him in a lightsaber duel. While Osha finds May, once more blaming her for everything.
I could never learn to calm my negative emotions, my hatred of you, so I never became a Jedi. Sol killed our mother. How could he teach you to control your negative emotions? He's the reason you have them.
And Osha still can't even contemplate May telling the truth. So she attacks her. But while Osha is distracted by the other Jedi arriving, May takes off. And joins the fight between Camille and Sol, ending it by taking away Sol's lightsaber.
Strike him down.
No.
She now wants him to pay for his crimes by standing trial in front of the Senate. However, Sol still insists he did nothing wrong and tells May that her mother created her using a virgin's, though he doesn't know how.
I believe she used the Force to create you and Osha.
This is where Osha arrives, unseen by Sol, and picks up his lightsaber, while she hears him confess.
Yes, I did.
Is that true?
Still insisting that he was protecting her.
You were too old to train. I did what I thought was best for you. I did everything because I love...
But while trying to say that he did it out of love, she uses the Force to stop him. While her negative emotions take over, the Kyber crystal in the lightsaber she holds is corrupted and turns red. And she ends up choking out Sol's life. Seeing the blade turn red, Osha has to realize that her path just has changed. Meanwhile, Vernestra arrives, feeling a familiar presence.
You.
While the Jedi get in, May leads Osha out, showing us how she survived her fall 16 years ago.
When I fell, I got sucked into this core tunnel.
Finding Soul's body, Vernestra uses her ability to take in the place's history, finally understanding it all. Outside, in their favorite spot, the two sisters finally reconcile, but are interrupted by Camille.
If I can find you, so can the Jedi.
As they believe the Jedi would kill Osha now that they know how strong she is, May asks her,
What do you want, Osha? Let my sister go and I will train with you. Are you sure? The Jedi will use me to find you.
So Camille offers to remove any trace of them from May's memory. Permanently.
Do it. Quickly. I can't lose you again. I will find you. I know you will.
She's then found and brought back to Coruscant, without any memory of the events after Soul killed her mother 16 years ago.
He justified every selfish step with the love he had for your sister.
Including even having a sister.
My sister?
Vernestra then informs the Senate, blaming the Jedi killings on Soul for trying to stop the crimes against the Witches' Coven from coming to light, deflecting from Camille and Osha still being at large. The season ends with the two of them standing together as Master and Acolyte, with their future unknown, and with Vernestra reporting to someone we all know very well.
We need to talk.
Well, in the beginning I predicted that they may bring in Yoda, who would be already around at that time, but I thought it would be a bad idea as it would take away the focus from the new characters. As they brought him in at the very end though, it kinda worked. Though we don't know if Vernestra will tell him all or what his role will be. Unfortunately, it is unclear if we will ever find out, depending on if there will be another season. With all the negative chatter online, it may be that the show will end here, which I think would be a shame. Maybe if the streaming numbers were solid, they still will greenlight another season. We will see. If this is the end, we will not learn what happened to May after she survived and how she met Camille, and what his stake in it all is. There are still some mysteries at hand while others were unveiled, and even some new ones were introduced. For instance, was that Darth Plagueis who lurked in the shadow of the cave? And why did we only see him then? Was Camille aware of it, or was this being attracted by Osha's power? We learned though that Vernestra was Camille's master and thought him to be dead. This matches up with his scars looking like whipping marks, and her lightsaber is more of a whip than a sword. We learned that killing without a weapon was referring to using the Force to choke someone to death, which is a nice tieback to Vader's powers and something we are not even sure Camille would be able to do, as he looked quite surprised by it. We were shown early on in this chapter that Osha is likely stronger than Camille, as she was able to intrude his mind just as her mother did. But he also was strong enough to fight through, so not clear who can be considered stronger, at least yet. There was also a nice bow to the Jedi lore, highlighting the fact that not every Jedi has the same powers, or at least not at the same level. While Osha can apparently see the future and invade minds, Soul was apt in reading them, and Vernestra can read impressions from the past, a skill we know from Jedi like Quinlan Vos. But Osha misread the future, believing it was May who would kill Soul, which was a nice twist and doubled down on the topic of duality we see in many episode titles. Here the duality is May and Osha themselves, who are also the same, which may have confused her interpretation of the vision. However, the title of this chapter, The Acolyte, pretty much foreshadowed that Osha would join Camille. It somehow made sense, as she always struggled with controlling her negative emotions. And I liked how they brought in the lore of corrupting the Kyber crystal, which usually is only mentioned in books. Nice touch. I guess the writer's idea was to deeper dive into the duality topic by having the sisters switch places, having Osha go dark and exploring if May, now without the memory of her deeds, having a clean slate, could join the team of the good guys, if we want to call Vernestra that. Because we still don't know what Vernestra's deal is and what she did to Camille, and lying to the Senate and Council also doesn't make her look squeaky clean. We don't even know why they assumed May, dressed as Osha and without memory, is indeed May. I guess she could have told them herself, but that was not really addressed. However, that is just a minor issue. The larger issue I have with this final chapter is how they resolved the sister situation, if we can even call them sisters. We still don't know why their mother split them into two persons and may never find out. But what really threw me off in the end was this. Why did May have to stay behind? They erased May's memory so that she cannot help the Jedi to locate Osha and Camille. So why not just take her with you? There was no plausible reason to not just leave together. They were reunited and embraced each other, both literally and figuratively. Take her with you. If Camille don't want to take on two acolytes, which would be weird as he made a point of not wanting to follow arbitrary rules, like that there has to be one master and one apprentice, then don't abide to that rule. And even if neither him nor May wanted to enter that kind of a relationship, just take her with you and either then have her stay around or take her to a secret place after you are all safe. This decision made no sense at all and obviously was just constructed to set up events for the next season, which, as mentioned, is not even a sure thing. But even with that in mind, that plot point was just unwarranted and felt totally out of place. I still liked the episode and the overall conclusion, except for that turn of events. I mean, it was an interesting take to have Soul talking himself into believing he did the right thing, blaming May and not taking any responsibility besides not saving her from her fall. Although it was a bit puzzling why all of a sudden proving that there was a virgins becomes so important to Soul. Was it all about that? What would proving that achieve? They should have explained the background of that a little bit more. It was shocking to see that after May got away, Soul was contemplating killing her. So was Vernestra partially right? Was he really protecting the cover story, his own butt, and what Osha thinks of him to the point of killing May in cold blood? There were some interesting insights for sure. Another interesting point, the Jedi so far worked completely without any oversight, without checks and balances. But those were finally imposed at the end, as we would know them from the prequel trilogy, for better or worse. One last call out. Is Camille now Osha's master or is there more at play? The way he held her hand could be an innocent thing, him just guiding her journey. Somehow it felt a bit like a romantic gesture though, which I'm not sure if that would be appropriate. We hopefully see where that all leads in the future, in case the show gets renewed. And with that being said, let's get to the rating. It was a solid conclusion that offered some pretty amazing lightsaber action, resolved some of the open questions, but left a lot unsaid, like details about Camille's backstory. The show as a whole did a great job in looking at the grey area, with us actually rooting for the so-called bad guys. Don't get me wrong, I still think that the path Camille and Osha and May in the past took is wrong, as killing is always wrong. But they made some good points that not everything is just black or white, showcased by Soul highlighting that sometimes the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Are Camille and Osha now plotting to attack more Jedi, or is he, now that he has an Acolyte, satisfied and just concentrates on training? Are they destined to become Sith? Are they already Sith? Can there be something in between? I think so, and hopefully we will be able to find out. However, the plotline of leaving May behind, resulting in erasing her memory, really impacted the overall happiness I had with the conclusion. It is not a showstopper, but should have either been avoided, or they should have just given a better rationale for it. As is, it just doesn't compute. For that reason, I'm rating this finale with 7 out of 10 points. It was still good, but there was definitely room for improvement. Still a pity, as that dip in my rating could have easily been avoided. What about you? Are you happy with the finale or also felt a bit irritated by leaving May behind? Did I miss something that would make that more plausible? What is your overall feeling with the show now? Whatever you like to share, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share or subscribe. So much for now, see you next time and thanks for watching. The finale begins with Osha using the sensory what? Meanwhile, Vernestra Was Khmer aware? It was a solid conclusion that offered some pretty amazing lightsaber.